Good evening, Marion County. And what about that Marion County flag you just saw flying there? Whew! January 9th, 6:45 p.m. is what time it is right now, 2026. Today is the last day to file for election in Kentucky for the primary that will be held in May. I'm Chad Mangley. I'm your Marion County Clerk. I don't have notes tonight. I don't have. I've got some rudimentary, crude graphics for you here in just a minute. But thank you for joining, and let's get right to it. Today was the filing deadline in Marion County and in Kentucky. There are lots of things that will be on the ballot in this year's primary election. Before we get started with who is filed to run for office, let's have a quick look at what a primary election is. A primary election is held on the first Tuesday after the third Monday in May. It is a nominating election for the parties. As such, the primary is closed to qualified registered members of the party. To be qualified, a voter must be a registered member of the party by December 31st of the year preceding. That was last week. Today is the 9th. That was last Wednesday. As some of you know, we've been doing these live Q&A events throughout the past couple of months to try to prepare us for that deadline, deadline to change your partisan affiliation if you wished. That was last Wednesday. We will look at where our numbers were prior to the deadline. They didn't change much from the last time we did one of these live events. But to be eligible for the primary election, you have to be registered member of a party by December 31st. And to stay qualified, there were a couple of people that missed the deadline, and I've reached out to those people to make sure that they knew that to stay qualified, you must continue to be registered as a member of that party until the May primary. If I were to change my voter registration party affiliation right now, it would disqualify me for either the Democrat or the Republican primary. You must stay continuously registered as a member of that party. There's going to be people that are going to want to make that choice. When we get into the candidates that have filed for this election, I think there are people that are going to want to participate. I want to participate in both primaries. The law will not allow that. I must choose one of the primaries to participate in, and I'm going to wish the folks in the other primary well, but I will not be able to vote for them. We'll get into that shortly, because a voter can only vote in one party's primary. All right. What's on the ballot this time? Federally, the U.S. Senate seat that has been held by Mitch McConnell for the majority of my lifetime will be on the ballot. The U.S. Congress, 1st District, State Senate, 14th District, the seat that is currently held by Marion County's own Jimmy Higdon, Chair of the Transportation Cabinet and a vital, extremely important part of the Kentucky General Assembly. We will very much miss Senator Higdon in Frankfort. He's going to finish out this term, and that seat's open. You will see what kind of turnout that seat had shortly. State representative on the state level, and then on the county level, property valuation, county judge, county attorney, sheriff, jailer, coroner, county clerk, county surveyor, magistrates for all 5 districts. That's what's on the ballot. Here's how the voter registration broke down as of December 30th. This is not, I haven't updated this graphic since then, but it hasn't changed a lot, not tremendously. A little over 7,500 Marion Countyans will be eligible to, unless they change their registration between now and the primary, will be eligible for the Democrat primary. If they do change their registration between now and the May primary, it will disqualify them from either party's primary. So there's a little over 7,500 that will be able to participate in the Democrat primary, a little over 5,100 that will be able to participate in the Republican primary in Marion County. The remainder is somewhere around 7% of others, independents, libertarians, green, Constitution, socialist workers, and Reform Party members. They will be ineligible for either the Democrat or the Republican primary. The candidates that we're going to look here, I do not have any judicial candidates. If you are an independent or a third-party registered voter, if there is a judicial primary, which is not that common, then you will have a ballot. I do not have judicial offices in this live event. The information that I got off of the Secretary of State's website, which has been just a little bit funky this afternoon because I'm sure it's getting a tremendous amount of traffic. The information that I have off the Secretary of State's website, I did not get judicial information. If there's anybody that is extremely interested in judicial filings, please put that in the chat. I can see that on the system that I've got here, and we'll look into it. If anybody's got a question, then feel free to call in. But if I left somebody out or if I misspelled something, it was not intentional. The order that you will see on the ones that I got from the Secretary of State are in the order that they're on the website. Mostly alphabetical, but some of them is not. One of the races was, it looked like, from the order in which they had filed. Whatever they put on the Secretary of State's website, that's the order I put them on here. As far as the local races, then I put them, you're going to see, if you can see that, because the font is very small. I think it's a 13-point font. That is the order of local candidate filings in Marion County. I've got them in by order of filing, not by office or by alphabetical. I get into it by office shortly. Right now. Let's go right now. Let's do it right now. All right, so that's because nobody can read that. U.S. Senate. I had one of our tremendous poll workers that that texted me earlier and said it looks like it's going to be a 2-page ballot, and she's probably right. I said, yeah, there's going to be a page for U.S. Senate and a page for State Senate and a page for everything else. There are 19, by my count, filings for the U.S. Senate. You'll see the Democrats on the left, the Republicans on the right, and that'll be throughout the remainder of this presentation. The Democrats, I'm going to read them real quick. Joshua Blanton Sr., Charles Booker, Logan Forsythe, Amy McGrath, Dale Lewis, Romans, Pamela Stevenson, Vincent Anthony Thompson. On the Republican side, Andy Barr, Daniel Cameron, Anissa Catlett, James D. Duncan, Michael James Ferris, Valerie Dr. Val Frederick, Jonathan M. Holliday, Jimmy I. Leon, Nate Morris, A. Nick Shelley, George Washington, and other Donald Wenzel. One of those folks will be our next U.S. Senator. Democrats, registered Democrats, will be able to vote on the crew on the left. Registered Republicans will be able to vote and choose between the candidates on the right. If you're registered as a Democrat, you will not be able to choose who the Republican nominee is that goes to the general election. Of course, in a general election, you can vote for whoever you want to. You can vote Democrat, Republican, Independent, or however. But in the primary election, Democrats will be choosing among the Democrats, Republicans will be choosing among the Republicans. That's U.S. Senate. U.S. Congress, one Democrat has filed for the 1st District U.S. Congressional seat, John Drew Williams. 4 Republicans have filed. Penny Arcos, our incumbent Congressman, James R. Comer, David Sims, and Robert James Sotheby. That are, again, if you're a Democrat, you will not see this race on your ballot in the primary election because there's only one candidate on the Democrat side. That candidate will advance to the general election. Republicans, your ballot so far, you've got the U.S. Senate and U.S. Congress, 1st District. Democrats, you've got the U.S. Senate at this point. Moving on, now we're getting into where you're going to see some names that you recognize. This is the state Senate seat that is currently held by our very own State Senator Jimmy Higdon. 2 Democrats have filed to continue on the good work that Senator Higdon has done. Malcolm W. Jones and Marion County's own Carrie Gribbins Truitt. Ms. Truitt filed today, it looked like, according to the Secretary of State's website. On the Republican side, there are, let's see, 7 candidates on the Republican side. I'm going to go down through here. Brian Bayers, Stephen Carney, Marion County's own Ben Mudd, James Victory, Lynn Shelburne, Dallas Robinson, and Marion County's own Peggy Brady Smith. Peggy filed earlier today, it looked like, from the Secretary of State's website, and Ben filed a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure exactly what date that was, but I think it's been more known that Mr. Mudd was running for state senate than the other 2 Marion Countyans that have filed. But it's very exciting to see Marion Countyans on the ballot. Democrats, you will see this race on your ballot in the primary. You will choose between the 2 candidates, and Republicans are going to choose between the 7 filed candidates for this office. I'm going to let that soak in there for a minute, because I'm excited to see Ben's name on there. I'm excited to see Carrie's name on there. I'm excited to see Peggy's name on there. It's I'm excited to see Marion Countyans filing for this seat. I can't overstate how good it's been to have our state senator be from Marion County. I've had the pleasure of discussing many topics with Jimmy Higdon, and it's been my pleasure and my honor to discuss those topics with him. We're going to miss him, and the fact that we've got I think we've got he's going to big shoes to fill, but I feel like we've got good candidates to fill them. So get out there and vote, for your candidate of your choice. But yeah, it's exciting. Continuing on to the 51st State Representative District, we've got one person that has filed, according to the Secretary of State's website that I saw, and that is our incumbent, Michael Sarge Pollock from over in Taylor County. No Democrats have filed, so Democrats, you will not see this office on your ballot in the primary election because there are no candidates. Republicans, you will not see this office on your ballot during the primary election because you've only got one candidate, and that candidate will automatically go on to the general election. In the general election, everybody will see this office on their candidate on their ballot. If nobody else files, it'll be our incumbent, Michael Sarge Pollock, and then a write-in option. But every office is on the general election ballot. But in the primary, if there's nobody to choose between, then it doesn't show up on the ballot. That's our state rep. Now we're moving into the county level ballots. Offices, these are in the order in which they will show up on your ballot. I have not ordered these in any way that means that one is more important than the other. That this is just the way that they show up on the ballot, so that's the way I put them on here. There are many of these that they're all very important, and many of them I wouldn't want to do at all because they're very hard jobs. And so yeah, I didn't put them on any particular. The order that you're going to see them is the order that they will show up on the ballot, and the order that the candidates are in there are the order in which they filed. So with that said, we'll start with the property valuation administrator. There's one candidate that has filed for that, Democrat Terry Catfish Rakes. Our PVA incumbent will continue on to the November general election. Next up is the County Judge Executive Office. Our incumbent, David Daugherty, has filed as a Democrat, and in the primary there will be a Republican contest between Walter E. Livers Jr. and Joe Strong. Democrats, you will not see this office on your primary ballot because the incumbent, David Daugherty, will move on to the general election. Republicans will have this office on their ballot, and they will choose between Walter E. Livers Jr. and Joe Strong. In the County Attorney, Office of County Attorney, one person has filed, Democrat and incumbent Lisa K. Nally Martin. So Democrats and Republicans will not see this office on their ballot in May because the Democrats have only one candidate, and that candidate will continue on to the general election, and Republicans don't have a candidate. Same for the county clerk office. Excuse me, while we talk about the county clerk office, I'm going to get a little drink before I cough all over this presentation. There's been one candidate that has filed for county clerk, the incumbent, Democrat filed as a Democrat, Chad G. Mattingly. I'm getting choked up. Excuse me. There, better. So Democrats and Republicans will not see this race on their ballot in the primary. Everybody will see it in the fall. Democrats, because the Democrat will move on to the general election, and the Republicans, because no Republican has filed in the general election. This office will be there, and every office will be on the general election ballot. Moving on to the sheriff's, the office of Marion County Sheriff. 3 Democrats have filed for that office, for that position. Ray Gardner, our incumbent sheriff, who was appointed for the retiring Jimmy Clements in the past few months. Our incumbent sheriff, Ray Gardner, Jeff Cowell, and William Chad Rakes. All three of those will be on the Democrat ballot. This office, this seat, will not show up on a Republican ballot because no Republicans have filed for sheriff in Marion County. The winner of this will proceed to the general election. So 3 for sheriff: Ray Gardner, Jeff Cowell, and William Chad Rakes. We've got 3 that have filed for jailer. 2 on the Democrat side, Tina Wright Huntsberger and Tony Furman, and 1 on the Republican side, Adam Bradley Gordon. The Republicans in the primary will not see this office on their ballot. Their candidate will move on to the general election. The Democrats will see this office on their ballot, and the winner of that contest will move on to the general election, where they will where it would be a choice between the winner of the Democrat primary and the winner of the Republican primary. For coroner, we've got our incumbent Democrat, the jailer. Before I move on, that is an open seat. Our incumbent jailer, Mr. J. Barry Brady, who has been a long time and distinguished jailer in Marion County, is finishing his term as Marion County's jailer and will be retiring. And it's with the retirement of Jimmy Clements and the retirement of Barry Brady, it's and the retirement of Jimmy Higdon, those were 3 tremendous public servants, and I did not want to move on without mentioning our current sitting jailer, who has done a tremendous job, Barry Brady. So these folks have tremendously large shoes to fill as well. Our incumbent coroner, R. Allen Mattingly, has filed as a Democrat. No one will see this race on this office on their ballot in the primary. Democrats, because your candidate is moving on to the general election, and Republicans, because none have filed. Getting into our 5 magistrate districts in Marion County. In the 1st district, incumbent Democrat Joe Pat Kirkland has filed, and no Republicans have filed. Again, if you're in the 1st district, which is the district basically east, everything pretty much east of Lebanon, so Bradfordsville and Gravel Switch and Danville Highway area, everything that feeds off of Danville Highway, you won't see no voters in the 1st district. We'll see a magistrate race because the Democrats' candidate is moving on to the general, and the Republicans do not have a candidate. So there is no nominating that needs to take place. In the 2nd district, again, the Democrats and the Republicans won't see this on their ballot because their candidates are moving on to the general election. Our incumbent Democrat, Larry Snook Mattingly, has filed, and Republican David A. Farmer has filed for the magistrate in the 2nd district. I'm keeping an eye on that one because that is my magistrate district. It is, so that's the district, basically everything south of Lebanon, Calvary area, is District 2. So Democrat and incumbent Larry Snook Mattingly and Republican David A. Farmer. In the 3rd District, Democrats that live in the 3rd District, which is southwest of Marion County, the Raywick, St. Joe, Jessietown area, the Democrats in that area will have this on their ballot. Incumbent Craig Allen Bishop will be has refiled, and Tommy Troutman has filed in that district. So Democrats will see that on their ballot. Republicans in that district, in the 3rd District, will not see this on their ballot. Their candidate, Larry Smith, will continue on to the November general election. So in the 3rd District, incumbent Democrat Craig Allen Bishop and Tommy Troutman will be on the Democrat ballot, and Larry Smith, the Republican, will continue on to the general election. In the 4th Magistrate District, this is northwest of Marion County. This is the Loretto, St. Francis, Holy Cross, St. Mary's, area of the county. This is our incumbent, Jackie Fogel, Democrat, has refiled, and no one has filed against Jackie Fogel. So Jackie Fogel will move on to the general election. Nobody in the 4th District will have this race on their ballot, Democrats or Republicans. The Democrats because your candidate is moving on, Republicans because you did not have a candidate to file. And in the 5th District, this is our last magistrate district, we have the incumbent, Caleb Buckman. The incumbent, Caleb Buckman, is running as a Democrat, and Glenn G. Thompson will be has filed to run as well. There is no Republican that has filed in the 5th District, so Republicans will not see this office on their ballot. They will see that they don't have a candidate, and the Democrats will choose between incumbent Caleb Buckman and Glenn G. Thompson to send their candidate to the general election. So those are our candidates. Let's put them all back up there again. That way you cannot see it because it's so small. Goodness gracious, it's so small. I can't see it, but I'm getting old. Maybe there's some people out there with better eyes than me that can see that. But that's all of the candidates that filed in Marion County in order that they filed. So you'll see that we were bookended by 2 jailer candidates with some, it looks like I was kind of right there in the middle. Huh. It's interesting. That's all of our candidates. Let's look at, I'm going to put this back up there one more time. Look at all of them people running for Senate. That is a lot of people. 19, I think, running for Senate. So that's exciting too. You know, it's exciting. Democracy is exciting. We'll be doing more of these live events to get everybody ready for the May primary. Again, let's look at what that primary election means. It's a nominating election for the 2 parties. But the County Board of Elections is meeting this upcoming week to get the plan together after we know what we can speculate on turnout because of who has filed and, you know, what kind of races we look like we're going to have. And if I had to guess, which it's going to be up to the County Board of Elections, but my recommendation to them is that we do wide open, like we always do in Marion County. In the presidential election last year, we were one of 2 counties that had 12 hours of early voting each day. We're one of very few that have as many polling locations that act as true vote centers across we have polling locations in 12 locations on election day. It'd be my recommendation that we continue to do that if we have the precinct election officers, the poll workers. Let me put that up here because that is the most important part of it all. Let's see if I can get that to pop up. Get off there. Let's see here. Yes. We have 12 polling locations on election day that act as true vote centers in the presidential election last year. Any Marion County could vote in any of our polling locations, and that was made possible because of the dedicated precinct election officers that we have, the dedicated poll workers. We haven't had an election since November of 2024. And by the time May of 2026 gets here, it's going to be 18 months since the last election. We are always looking for people that are interested in serving their community, serving their neighbors and family by working their polling location. We will, if you are interested in that, you can send me an email at chad.mattingly@ky.gov. You can come by the office. We will be open tomorrow morning from 8:20 to 11:50. You know why? Because it's not a holiday Saturday. We're open every Saturday except for holiday Saturdays. So we'll be here tomorrow, but we will not be here next Saturday because it will be a holiday Saturday. But if you're interested in working as a poll worker, as a precinct election officer, serving your community and getting paid a little bit, then come on by. We'll get you signed up. For those folks that have dedicated their time and effort and intelligence and experience to being a precinct election officer, a poll worker in the past, expect a letter here soon because we're going to be sending it out, hoping that you'll re-sign back up. But that's what makes it possible. That's what makes that 12 hours of early voting each day possible. That's what makes the 12 polling locations across the county possible. It's our poll workers. So sign on up, and thank you for watching. We'll do this more as we move on. We'll do this more as we get into motor vehicle situations. Today we're not talking about any of that. We're not talking about land records. Today it's all elections, because today has been a day of a democracy day around here, and we love democracy around here. So for all those that serve, we thank you, and we'll keep you up to date, Marion County. I don't have nothing else to say, I don't think. I told my wife I was going to be home way earlier than it is right now, and I was not. And I apologize. And it's Friday evening, and I'm going home. Unless anybody's got any questions, we're going to hold it for a minute. If that phone rings, I'll answer it. If anybody's got a question let me check the chat. I see some comments in the chat. Appreciate everybody watching. But if we don't have any questions, I'm gonna leave you. Well, let me check my cell phone, because I was talking about my wonderful wife, who I told I was gonna be home a long time ago. She always keeps me in line. She will tell me if I've missed something. So I'm going to check my text here and make sure that she doesn't have any further instructions for me. She does not. And hey, here's wishing all of you all a wonderful evening. Here's thanking everybody that serves or are willing to serve, because it can be the folks that put their name out there. It can be tough on them sometimes, and I thank them for their service and their willingness to serve. And at the end of the day, we're all Marion County. We're all neighbors and family, and regardless of how these races turn out, we're going to go to the grocery together. We're going to go to church together. We're going to go to the lake and go fishing together. And we want to support each other, especially those right now that are dealing with challenges that don't have nothing to do with elections. Hey, there's a question. I can do that for my man James P. right there. He asked if we'll put up the graphic of everybody that's running. If you can read that, Jim, then you got some good eyes, because I can't hardly read that. But the setup I got here, I've got not a full screen either. So yeah, let's support each other, and especially those right now that are sick. And we pray that the healing hand of our Lord comes upon them, and we pray for contentment in the heart of those that love them. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I didn't hear any more questions, and I'm gonna start rambling. So I'm gonna leave you with our beautiful Marion County flag. Wish all of y'all an amazing night, a great weekend, and stay safe. Go Marion County.